Welcome to the DeFi Standard. This is Mickey B. Fresh. And yesterday, we just got some news on the token distribution of Flare Finance. So I wanted to cover that briefly in a video today because this is important and it is a development and it's complicated and it's something that's we're going to talk about probably for months to come. But I do want to get into it, and it does change even my perspective on how big the DeFi ecosystem could actually be on the Flare network with what Flare Finance is building. So this is a design that definitely will probably make your head spin a little when you read this blog. And that's what I kind of felt like when I started. But I kind of started to wrap my head around it after a day or so. And at the surface, it looks very complicated, and you might think this is like a robo-advisor or something, but it's not like that at all. It's actually part of the governance function of the network. So let's go over here to the actual blog. So this is Flare Finance peeling back the first layers. Now I'll post this in the description below. So they go through now. This is the distribution for the YFLR. And now this is going to be airdropped to you, Spark holders, 1 month after Flare goes live. Now, just to touch on this quickly, Flare network is you're going to get the airdrop for your Spark. A month later, you get your DFlare. Now, with DFlare, you'll have 7 days to convert it to YFlare. Now, you have to do that actually on the platform. So then you could use the platform and you could use everything on it. And it's very user-friendly in a way that you'll decide on how you want to use it best. There's 6 different products. And pretty much there's guaranteed yield. Once you earn the yield, that will earn compounding guaranteed yield. So that's one thing that they built here, is to support the whole DeFi ecosystem of all the 6 products that they have. There's 2 tokens, 6 products, and we're going to go into those. So 40 million YFLR is going to be airdropped to Spark holders. Then, after that, there'll be 40 million YFLR that's left in this APY Cloud. And that's going to be distributed as part of the minimum and a maximum yield. So this is a whole system. Basically, think of it like this. It's a automated real-time monetary system to guarantee the user's yield. So instead of think of the Fed, who just does what they want and kind of gets rates down to zero, the APY Cloud knows that the market's going to go through volatility and it has different conditions that it will meet, and to guarantee the governance of those who stake, they don't go into here specifically, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're staking YFIN once you yield farm it, and then you earn guaranteed minimum and then maximum. So it's 20% all the way up to 120. I mean, the governance will decide that, but that's basically what it's doing. It's automating all the products depending on the volume and pulling some in and then redistributing. But it's starting with that initial 40 million YFLR. And I don't want to go into too many details of specifics. They don't give you everything. They're going to be coming out with a technical paper that will have more details, and also on the second blog of this. So expect that. I just want to do a brief overview. So here is our token distribution. There's going to be 110 YFLR. 40 is going to come with the airdrop, which we just went over. Now, the name of this new I would say governance function is the APY Cloud. And that will be used to distribute the pool mining of the 40 million YFLR that will be distributed out. So that starts in the governance staking pool. And over 3 years, that will be distributed out. And the APY Cloud will handle all of that, which is kind of it's like an automated system in a way. And it doesn't go directly into here. They don't really say it, but for the most part, you're going to probably use your YFIN to stake in the governance pool after you earn it from yield farming. You either use a single or dual coin LP pools. We've covered that before and we'll go into it in detail. I really want to get to what the APY Cloud is. So the APY Cloud is a yield aggregating savings protocol called APY Cloud. The Flare Finance ecosystem utilizes all of the major F assets birthed in the Flare network, as well as the ecosystem's main platform tokens, YFLR and YFIN. So profits from each platform are collected from each transaction in the form of tokens being utilized. These profits are distributed back to the yield pools which make up the APY Cloud and the team distribution contracts. In this topic, we will discuss how profits are distributed back to the yield pools for each product as well as the APY Cloud. So I'm going to post this in the description below. There's a huge diagram that you could zoom in on. And just to give a little view, here's where it starts. It's a little complex, so I think this will be a reference point for the future when we get more information from it. So these are all the 6 products here. And then over here is the APY Cloud. So that's where it starts with the 40 million YFLR. Is a dynamic yield aggregating savings protocol, allowing user-governed protocols to enact long-term yield mechanisms through various distribution phases. So there will be certain conditions. If this is met, it goes no and it does that. If this condition is met and it's yes and moves on to here, then is the hourly APY over a certain limit? Yes, then it goes here. And then it goes to eventually, it's like a pool. So as it collects more, it goes up, 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 and then it hits boosted APY, and then it releases out. I'm not going to go into all the specifics because it's very complex here. And then there's also a bond market that backs this thing. So it's going to be able to handle like stressed times in the market. So say when volatility, but also usability. So how many people are actually using the Flare Finance pools? And the Flare X basically is like the Uniswap. So you're gonna have all the big protocols that are on Ethereum are going to be built here on Flare Finance to start. And one thing that's really unique about the situation on Flare and what Flare Finance could do here is you could set the whole DeFi ecosystem up correctly from the beginning. So you could do things that can't be done on Ethereum. It's just not possible because it was kind of a patchwork put together. And you could also not make the same mistakes. So governance will manage the monetary policy, but this APY Cloud is built under certain conditions, will just act. And it will support basically the value of the yield you're earning. So when you earn that YFIN for yield farming, you'll know that that's going to continuously be bolstered by staking it in the governance staking pool. And it doesn't say that exactly, so I don't want to, I'm just making that assumption because it seems pretty obvious. That will get supported by basically the yield paid in YFLR constantly out. That 40 million is going to be distributed, plus the fees are going to be collected and they're going to be distributed back out. So this is something really, I've never seen this in DeFi. So this is definitely some next level stuff. I really can't think of anything to compare it to, not that I've seen. So very impressive. Something, I'm sure we'll hear more about. I know there'll be a ton of questions, but this is something we definitely, just want to absorb. Don't do a run through. Like before you start asking any questions, just read the whole thing. It's going to take you a half hour. So just, it's going to just please. This is definitely going to be a difficult one to explain. And I know it's going to be a little confusing for many at first, but that's okay. We got months to go still. And don't expect Flare networks to go live till after June 11th, which is when the claim for your Spark is up. And then a month from that, after that, is when Flare Finance. So we're looking at like the July range here. So we still have, that's, 3 months or so, at least. So, and this is Flare X, which is the Uniswap of basically the Flare Finance ecosystem. And this is going to be Uniswap basically better than Uniswap because it's going to have all of these other protocols built in to its usability and what it's trying to do from the beginning. It's not just like a patchwork, like Compound came after Maker and then Uniswap. This is built to work with each other, and the token design and governance is set in a way to support that price of YFIN. So YFIN is going to be heavily supported and valuable once you earn it. So instead of just moving on to the next yield farming token, the next, it's going to support it. It also has a launch pad built in, which I thought was pretty cool. So they go into that here, Flare Farm. So 50% of the staking rewards is distributed to the APY Cloud for governance staking rewards. So the fees are distributed back for governance staking rewards. So that's probably for staking YFIN. I mean, I would just assume that. And then there's a boosted time period when it overflows and it'll come out. And then here, let's go right to the APY Cloud. So APY Cloud is the first user-governed dynamic yield aggregator, allowing for a long-term sustainable yield platform-wide. Additionally, APY Cloud creates a predictable minimum and maximum APY for the long-term incentivized governance staking. With APY Cloud, participants of the Flare Finance ecosystem can rest assured that their long-term yield goals can be met with reason by utilizing our product suite. The problem with current DeFi suites is investors tend to be attracted to platforms with the most yield offered at the time. These API rates, sometimes in the thousands, are almost unsustainable, and in result in mining a token with little or no growth potential when planning for long-term returns. Now, this is one of the issues with, they're having like Uniswap over there. What's the long-term plan? There is none. So seeing that develop on Ethereum, now it's like this is a long-term strategy to support the whole whatever's built on top of this then too, because this is just the beginning, and you're going to have all this value from the F assets. That's one thing that's unique compared to, say, Ethereum. You don't have that. It took years to get that over. With Flare, you're going to have FXRP, you're going to have FDoge, you're going to have Litecoin, you're going to have Stellar, you're going to have Bitcoin, Cardano. That's going to be a lot of value coming over. So to support where you're going to put it, now you can earn all this yield at low gas fees, and this thing's going to guarantee you yield on that yield that you earn. And that's a big selling point. And for me, I think for the future, that the system is built for long term. It's basically a long-term financial advisor. I mean, you could think of it, it's the monetary system that acts to support the yield that it's creating. So as the growth, so just think of it as a very fast-growing economy, token economy, and it's supporting the value that's basically brought there. And I think the design here is really cool. I mean, on top of this, you're going to have new technologies, machine learning, AI that will probably work with this as well. And governance will be able to manage everything. So the APY Cloud is a substantial solution to the exact problem. APY Cloud is an intelligent yield aggregating savings protocol that helps the ecosystem remain in a healthy financial state by being the token's personal financial advisor. APY Cloud completes a 3-step procedure when deciding how to react to the current and future outlook of the financial ecosystem, and accomplishes these steps to better adjust and support the holder's token value. The steps to this procedure. There's obviously certain details that we'll see in the next blog will come out of the actual staking. So it's called governance staking. So minimum 5%, maximum 35%. Then the excess APY threshold is 20% over equals 7, and then 42. So when it hits certain numbers, then it just distributes out, kind of. And then there's a stress distribution. So there's this huge diagram, and then a small diagrams here for the excess distribution. Is the first yield reaction protocol, allowing for a long-term sustainable yield distributions with conditional boosted rewards. So it looks like it has to hit a certain thing to get these excess ones. And look at that number. APY falls below 120%. So we're talking pretty good here. And this is going to support the farming and all the other stuff. And then here's the stress distribution. Basically implants like a bond market in it too. So that's pretty cool. Here's the bond market, bond distributions. So there's basically that will get there in case there was anything that opened up. You could create long-term bonds on the YFLR. I mean, it's pretty in depth, so you might want to take a look at it for yourself. Just get it familiar. I mean, I definitely don't expect to completely understand it the first time, but it's definitely well thought out, and it's definitely building for the long term with the launch pad to bring other products in. We don't know if this uses the Flare times here's Oracle. I don't know if you're going to be able to earn your daily asset rewards in Spark with this. Some of these, I'm not sure. We'll find out, but it's definitely well planned, and I really like this. I like the fact that its long-term yield is just going to be continuous support. So the value that you're earning, you want to know that that value is going to then earn more yield. So that's something that a lot of these projects don't think about. It's like, oh, just throw this LP token out for liquidity here and this here, and that's not sustainable. Something like this, it's just recycling back to the people who are participating and who are putting in the value and a governance. So that's the thing with YFin. They're doing a fair distribution. So it's like, yes, you earn this value, but what makes me keep it in the system where I'm a governance staker now, I'm going to continue to earn with that YFin. So I do think that's going to be very valuable and powerful long term. And it's kind of how they basically took all the best parts of a lot of the best parts of the ETH DeFi ecosystem, but put it together. So this is the two DeFi projects that are being built on Flare are just top notch. So they have Flare Finance, and then we got complementary. You got Trustline just announced theirs. So this is not competition. These are going to be complementary to each other for different use cases. This is more about, like, think of it as like a blockchain bank, an autonomous blockchain bank for consumer payments. This is more connecting to the fiat world, and it allows you to lock your F assets in and generate RA stablecoin. And that's pretty cool. I'm not going to go too much into that, but this is also your gateway into DeFi. So this will allow to eventually get credit. So that's one thing that DeFi hasn't had yet. When you could borrow, like credit cards, and pay at the end of the month, you need a kind of identity for that. We'll see if that comes. I'm sure it is. That's what they're saying here. I mean, they're really going after that. And Probity Vault built on Flare. So keep that in mind. Probity's on Flare, but the Trustline network kind of goes on both. And the RA stablecoin is issued on the XRP ledger as well. All right, so I just wanted to cover that. We're going to cover the Flare Finance again in the future. I'm really looking forward to it. So this is exciting to see. And now there was going to be a third token, but it looks like that third token turned into APY Cloud. So there's only 110 YFLR, and now these are the total supplies. There is no mint feature, so there just can't ever be more. So we get 40 million for those people who get the airdrop for your Spark. Remember, snapshot of your Spark tokens, not your XRP, of your Spark. And then you'll get, and the ratio has yet to be determined depending on the claim with Spark from XRP. So we'll see that. And then this is a 3-year distribution of the pool mining. And then there's the governance staking. So there's a lot going on here. It's just good to know that us as Spark holders and part of the ecosystem are going to be well taken care of on a long-term project. So it's going to be sustainable, and it's going to have stability that they cherish in the traditional markets, but without all that inflation. It's built from the beginning to be sustainable. So we're going to see DeFi evolve massively. It's the one thing that is going to attract the financial markets more than just Bitcoin. Much more, because Bitcoin's just like up and down. Think of it. That's what I look at it. Like outside in the traditional markets, capital look at Bitcoin and go, oh, it goes higher, it goes lower. That's it. So now this creates a whole more complex actual financial products and a marketplace. This is the foundation for the next generation financial system. I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.